Welcome back to AI Business English Daily. In the next 15 minutes, we'll unpack one important story from the world of AI, business, and technology, and help you learn the English behind it.
Today we're talking about Microsoft's Work IQ APIs, and the bigger question is, if enterprise AI already has strong models, is the real missing piece now workplace context?
We really need to explore that question deeply because there is just a massive disconnect right now in how we experience artificial intelligence.
Oh, totally. A huge disconnect.
Right. You go online, you interact with a consumer AI, and it feels like magic. I mean, you can write a brilliant sonnet, pass the bar exam, code a video game from scratch.
Yeah, it's incredible.
But the moment you drop that exact same state-of-the-art model into a corporate environment and ask it something simple like, what did our marketing team decide in last week's strategy meeting? It suddenly feels completely useless.
Right. It just hallucinates, or it gives you this super generic advice, or it just apologizes.
Exactly. So to understand how we actually fix that, we have to look back at the announcements Microsoft made in early June 2026, during their build events,
Yeah, that's when they introduced the Work IQ APIs.
which officially became generally available as part of Microsoft 365 on June 16, 2026.
Right. And those announcements, they're really the key to solving that exact frustration you just described.
How so?
Well, the reason these incredibly smart models feel so helpless at work is that they lack a dedicated context layer.
Ah,
Think about it. An AI cannot possibly be a reliable coworker if it doesn't understand how work actually gets done inside your specific organization.
I mean, it doesn't know your history, your internal acronyms, reporting structures, none of it.
Exactly. What Microsoft is doing with Work IQ is building a completely new intelligence layer specifically for Microsoft 365. And, this requires a fundamental shift in how we think about software interfaces.
I'm really glad you brought up interfaces, because I think that's where a lot of the confusion lies. For decades, the software industry has been obsessed with building interfaces for human beings.
Yeah, we need visual dashboards. We need drop-down menus.
Right, bright buttons to click so we can navigate complex databases. But an AI agent doesn't have eyes, and it certainly doesn't have a mouse.
Exactly. When you force an AI agent to interact with human interfaces, you are actually just slowing it down.
So it doesn't need to click through like 3 different screens to find a client's purchase history.
So it needs simpler tool surfaces, incredibly low latency, and rich, structured data fed directly into its reasoning engine.
And that is precisely what this new intelligence layer provides, right?
Yeah. It basically strips away the human interface and presents the enterprise data in a way that AI models naturally understand.
Okay, but let me push back a bit, or at least look at this from the perspective of a developer who is actually trying to build something useful. If I'm an engineer at a mid-sized logistics company, and I want to build a custom AI application to track our shipping delays, how does my custom app actually connect to this intelligence layer? Am I just scraping data from Word documents?
Oh, no, not at all. Scraping is messy and unreliable. Microsoft positioned Work IQ as providing true programmatic access to your enterprise context.
Programmatic access, meaning developers have a standardized, clean way to plug their custom AI applications directly into the company's nervous system.
Yes. And they're facilitating this by supporting 3 distinct protocols, which cater to different types of AI interactions.
I was actually looking through the Microsoft Learn documentation on this, and it gets quite technical. They highlight agent-to-agent, the Model Context Protocol, and the REST API.
Right.
But why do we need 3 different ways to connect? Doesn't an API just fetch data?
Well, it does, but the nature of the data in the conversation dictates the protocol. Let's break them down. First, you have agent-to-agent, or A2A. This is literally designed for AI tools to talk to other AI tools. Imagine your custom shipping AI needs to ask the accounting AI if an invoice was paid before it releases a package.
Oh, wow. So A2A handles that negotiation.
Exactly. Then you have the Model Context Protocol, or MCP. This is a rapidly emerging standard that helps different AI models digest complex context uniformly.
But the REST API is the real workhorse here, isn't it?
Yeah, the one developers will rely on heavily is the REST API.
And the REST API is critical because it fundamentally changes the nature of the user's interaction with the AI. It's not just about a model pulling up a single static document and reading it to you.
Right. When you use the REST API, it actually supports multi-turn conversations with Microsoft 365 Copilot.
So the AI isn't just answering a single prompt and shutting down.
No, it's orchestrating a continuous back-and-forth dialogue. If you ask a complex question, the AI might realize it needs more information. So it uses enterprise search grounding to dive into your secure company data.
And it can seamlessly combine that with web search grounding to look up current external events.
Exactly. It's a dynamic retrieval process happening in real time while you converse with it.
Let's try to visualize what this means for an average employee. Because, dynamic retrieval still sounds a bit abstract.
Fair enough. I like to use an analogy here. Think about traditional AI prompting like hiring a brilliant intern on their very first day of work.
Oh, okay, I can picture that.
This intern is a prodigy. They've read every textbook in the world, they speak 20 languages, and they're incredibly eager.
But they know absolutely nothing about your company's culture.
Exactly. They don't know who the marketing director is. They don't know the background of the project you're working on. They don't even know where the digital files are stored.
That is painfully accurate. Whenever I use a raw public model for a work task, I feel like I spend 80% of my time just typing out the background information.
Right.
I'm constantly educating the intern before I can even ask them to do the job.
And that is exactly the problem WorkIQ is trying to solve. By plugging into this API, you essentially give that new intern the company's entire historical memory the exact second they walk through the door.
Let's ground this in a real-world application. I was reading a piece on Microsoft's Inside Track blog, and they gave a fascinating example of how this intelligence layer transforms Microsoft Outlook.
Oh, Outlook is a great example.
Yeah, historically, an email inbox is just a chronological list of messages. The goal of integrating WorkIQ here is to drastically reduce the cognitive load on the user.
And it achieves this by giving the AI a true semantic understanding of your communications.
And semantic understanding is a massive leap forward from traditional enterprise search, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. In the past, if you searched your inbox for budget approval, the computer just looked for those exact letters in that exact order.
Right, so if your colleague replied with "the financials look good to me," traditional search completely misses it.
Exactly. But semantic understanding means the AI comprehends the actual meaning and intent behind the words.
It understands the underlying concept. The documentation points out that the AI can recognize decision-driven threads.
Which is huge.
Yeah. So in a messy email chain with 40 different replies, the AI knows exactly when and where a choice was finally made without you having to read through all the noise.
It also maps your collaboration patterns. It inherently knows who you work with most closely based on how often you interact.
It even utilizes workflow signals to understand the rhythm of your work. Like it looks at how quickly you typically reply to a specific manager to determine if a new email from them is urgent.
This is incredible functionality, but it immediately raises a massive red flag.
Let me guess. Security.
Yes. If we're giving a custom AI application semantic understanding of all our work, if it can read the underlying meaning of every email, chat, and document, isn't that a security disaster waiting to happen?
Right.
What's to stop a junior employee from logging in, asking the custom AI, summarize all the CEO's private emails regarding the upcoming merger, and the AI just happily delivering highly confidential information?
I am so glad you brought that up, because if that problem isn't solved, no chief information officer on the planet is going to authorize this technology.
Exactly.
And this brings us to what might be the most important feature of the WorkIQ APIs, which is governance control. Microsoft has designed this entire system to be strictly permission-aware.
Meaning the API itself enforces security before the AI even gets a chance to see the data.
Precisely. When a developer builds an agentic app to reason over Microsoft 365 data, the API strictly preserves every single existing permission, compliance rule, and governance control you already have in place.
So the AI inherits the exact access rights of the human who is asking the question.
Right. If that junior employee searches for the CEO's merger plans, the AI simply cannot see them. It will act as if those documents do not exist.
What is truly fascinating from an industry perspective is how this shifts the paradigm of enterprise security.
What do you mean?
Well, historically, governance was an IT hurdle. It was a lock you bolted onto the outside of a database after you finished building it.
Right, an afterthought.
But now, because the AI is actively doing the thinking, retrieving, and synthesizing, governance has to be a core product feature. The context layer itself must inherently understand who is allowed to see what at the speed of thought.
Safety is no longer an afterthought.
Yeah.
It is built into the very foundation of the API.
Which explains why enterprise AI is moving away from raw, one-shot prompting and heavily toward governed context orchestration.
But if security and context are solved, the next immediate barrier for a business is cost. How does a company actually pay for this? Yeah, let's talk about the business model.
Good point.
How is Microsoft turning this workplace intelligence layer into a new revenue stream?
Based on their licensing and partner announcements, Microsoft is transitioning the industry toward usage-based pricing for custom development.
Okay, usage-based pricing.
Yeah. To be clear, if a company is just using the standard pre-built Microsoft 365 Copilot agents out of the box, that usage is covered under their existing Copilot licensing.
Right.
But the moment a customer or a partner decides to build a unique custom agent that directly calls the Work IQ APIs to reason over their data, that incurs direct charges.
And it's a very deliberate pricing structure. I noticed Microsoft breaks the billing down into two distinct parts.
Yeah, they do.
First, there's the variable query style component. This charges you based on the heavy computational lifting, the grounding, the retrieval, and the complex reasoning over your data.
And then there is a separate static usage component. This covers the actual actions and tools the agent utilizes.
Which makes perfect sense when you think about the compute power required.
Yeah.
You pay a variable rate for how hard the AI has to think and search through your vast enterprise context because some questions are incredibly complex.
Exactly. But you pay a predictable set rate for the standard actions it takes on your behalf, like sending an email or updating a spreadsheet.
Right.
But if we zoom out from the pricing, what is the larger strategic play here for Microsoft?
The overarching strategic insight is that whoever controls this enterprise context layer gains an almost insurmountable ecosystem advantage.
An ecosystem advantage.
Yeah, we are rapidly approaching a point in the industry where raw AI models are becoming commoditized. Many companies are developing brilliant, highly capable models.
Very true.
But even if a competitor launches an AI model that is 10% smarter or faster, Microsoft's governed integrated context makes their platform incredibly sticky for enterprises.
The switching costs become astronomically high. If a major enterprise has already trusted your system to organize their complex permissions, securely index petabytes of internal data, and safely feed it to their custom AI agents through these APIs.
Or, well, they're never going to want to rebuild that highly sensitive mission-critical infrastructure anywhere else.
Exactly. The context itself becomes the strategic moat. The raw intelligence of the AI is just a feature. The governed context is the platform.
The context layer truly is the new competitive battleground in enterprise technology.
Yep.
Now, we're going to transition to our English learning layer. We have a global audience, so we are going to consciously slow our speaking pace down by about 15 to 20% right now.
Yes, let's take it down a notch.
We want to make sure you have time to really hear these terms, understand their business definitions, and practice them. We will also leave a brief beat after every example so you can absorb it.
This is a great idea. We covered 12 critical business English terms in our discussion today. To make them memorable, let's review them by imagining a real scenario.
Okay, I'm ready.
Let's pretend we are technology consultants pitching a custom AI system to a very skeptical chief information officer.
I like that. The very first question the CIO will ask is why our AI is better than a generic public tool. I would tell them it is because we provide a deep and secure context layer.
Context layer. And if they asked you to define that simply, you would say a context layer is the background information and company data that helps an AI understand the specific environment it is working in.
Exactly. For example, without a proper context layer, the AI software could not understand our internal project codes.
Moving on to the second term, the CIO will immediately worry about data privacy, so we would assure them that our entire system is strictly permission-aware.
Permission-aware, which means the system automatically knows what information a specific user is allowed to see, and it hides what they are not allowed to see.
And in a sentence, we need a permission-aware AI so that junior staff cannot access confidential financial reports.
Take a second for that one. Okay, next, the CIO might point out that AI models often invent fake answers. To counter that, we explain that our system uses rigorous grounding.
Grounding. Grounding means connecting an AI's answers to real, factual data, so it doesn't make up false information.
For example, the developer focused on grounding the AI in the company's official HR policies to ensure accurate answers.
All right. The CIO then asks how the AI handles complex, messy human communication. We would highlight its capacity for semantic understanding.
Semantic understanding. This is when a computer comprehends the true meaning and intent behind words, rather than just matching simple keywords.
For example, thanks to semantic understanding, the tool knew that urgent fix and critical patch meant the same thing.
Let that sink in. Okay, because it understands meaning, we explain that the AI doesn't just answer one question and stop. It can engage in a multi-turn conversation.
Multi-turn conversation. This is a back-and-forth dialogue where the AI remembers what was said in previous steps to answer complex questions.
An example would be the customer service bot uses a multi-turn conversation to help users troubleshoot their software step by step.
To manage all this ongoing interaction safely, the CIO will demand strict governance control.
Governance control. This refers to the strict rules, policies, and technical barriers a company uses to manage risk and protect data.
For example, the IT director insisted on strong governance control before launching the new data analysis tool.
Okay, next one. And the primary way the AI safely finds this governed data is through a specialized enterprise search.
Enterprise search. This is a specialized search engine that looks only through a company's internal, secure data like emails, documents, and chat logs.
For example, finding that old contract was easy using the new enterprise search platform.
Next, the CIO's developers will ask how they can build their own tools to connect to this system. We offer them programmatic access.
Programmatic access. This means allowing software programs to interact with data or other software directly through code without a human user interface.
For example, the vendor provided programmatic access via an API, allowing us to connect our database directly to theirs.
Almost done. When the CIO asks what the ultimate benefit for the employees will be, we tell them it will vastly reduce their cognitive load.
Cognitive load. This is the amount of mental effort and memory required to complete a task.
For example, the new dashboard reduces cognitive load for managers by putting all the key metrics on one clear screen.
Finally, we have to talk about the budget. We explain that our billing is based on usage-based pricing.
Usage-based pricing. This is a business model where customers pay only for the exact amount of a product or service they consume, rather than a flat monthly fee.
For example, because of the usage-based pricing model, our software costs drop significantly during our slow season.
If the CIO buys into our system, they integrate so deeply that it creates an incredible ecosystem advantage for us as the vendor.
Ecosystem advantage. This is the competitive edge a company gains when its various products, services, and partners all work perfectly together, making it hard for customers to leave.
For example, the tech giant's seamless integration between its phones, laptops, and watches gives it a massive ecosystem advantage.
And lastly, our 12th term. The AI constantly learns how to serve the company better by monitoring every single workflow signal.
Workflow signal. A workflow signal is a piece of data generated by how people actually work, like how fast they reply to an email or who they collaborate with most often.
For example, the AI analyzed workflow signals to determine which project the team considered to be their highest priority.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I hope walking through that scenario at a slightly slower pace gave everyone a solid grasp of how to use those terms in a real business setting.
Me too.
Now let's bring our speaking speed back up to normal and summarize this deep dive with our 3 key takeaways.
Sounds good. Takeaway number 1. Context over raw intelligence. Enterprise AI models are truly only as good as their grounding. You can buy the most state-of-the-art AI model on the market, but it is effectively useless at work if it lacks a semantic understanding of your specific corporate data.
Very true. Takeaway number 2. Safety is a feature, not an afterthought. True AI utility requires systems that are inherently permission-aware from the ground up. Strict governance control is absolutely essential to manage risk before AI agents can ever be trusted to navigate enterprise data on their own.
And takeaway number 3, context is the new moat. Packaging workplace context into an accessible API creates a massive ecosystem advantage for platform providers. It also introduces new usage-based pricing models that are fundamentally changing how enterprise technology is monetized.
Well said.
Thank you, as always, to our listeners for joining this deep dive into AI and business English.
We will leave you today with this question to think about. What matters more for enterprise AI success now? Model quality, context quality, system integration, or governance? Think about that brilliant intern on their first day. What do they really need to succeed? See you next time.